You have to move on. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I feel like moving on is one of the hardest things that we have to go through. Moving on from something you thought was meant for you, somebody who you thought was meant for you, is one of the hardest things that we have to put ourselves through. One of the things that we have to get up and walk away from. Because moving on, you have to be the one to choose to get up and walk away. You can't just stay in that cycle, that season, stay with that person or that thought of a person for your whole life. You have to be the one to get up and walk out. Moving on isn't necessarily a bad thing. It opens yourself up, opens you to new doors, new opportunities, new people. So stop being so stuck on certain things that you had thought in your mind. You thought you were going to end up in this position, this career. You thought you were going to end up with that person. But sometimes you have to accept what happened and move on. Accept that things are the way that they are. You can't go back and change them. The only thing that you can do now is move forward, is to keep on going. Life will go on with or without you, whether you're ready or not. You have to be willing to move on with life. And it's not necessarily that you're giving up on a certain thing, because I know a lot of people will put all their effort, all their time into a certain dream, getting into that school, and it's not working out. But understanding that what's meant for you will find you. It's not necessarily changing the end goal, but changing the plan, redirecting yourself, finding a different way to get there. You were so stuck on this path. The only way that I can achieve my dreams, the only way that I can get to where I want to be is this way. But moving on from that way and finding a different path, finding a different way. Because when there's a will, there's a way. So stop thinking it as you're giving up on yourself, you're giving up on your dreams, but you're just finding a different way to get there. Changing your course, not changing your destination, not changing your goals, but changing how you get there. Maybe taking a break, looking at it from a different angle, different perspective. Moving on. Move on from the thought of what you had to do. A lot of people will be so stuck on a person, so stuck on, hey, I thought that this person was meant for me. And it's not just in a romantic sense, but also friendships. We won't move on from those people who we know aren't good for us. Sometimes it's watering a dead plant. It's like beating a dead horse. You do the exact same thing and you expect that person to change. But sometimes you have to have enough self-respect for yourself and get up and move on with your life. You thought that, hey, they were meant to be the one that walked down the aisle. You thought that they were the one that you would end up with. You'd have those laundry days, you'd have those days in bed with them, those little moments with them, but you have to move on. People won't change just because you want them to change. People will always be who they are. And yeah, people do change, but they'll change on their own time. And it's not that you're giving up on that person, but you have to understand that some people aren't meant for you. You're in this season of your life and they're in another. If they aren't willing to work and move forward with you, you have to leave them behind, no matter how much you love and care for them. Sometimes you can't hold somebody's hand the whole way through life. You have to let them grow on their own. Some people won't learn unless you let them go. Some people won't learn how to do things by themselves unless they are by themselves. You can't keep babying them. You can't keep picking them up when they fall. Some people have to learn how to get up on their own. So you have to move on from those people. And I know a lot of people will love somebody so much and they know that the relationship isn't healthy. They know that it's a toxic relationship. They know that somebody out there is willing to treat them better, but they love them and they want to stay with them. But you have to move on. You have to know and have enough self-respect for yourself. Have that discernment of, hey, I shouldn't be here. I'm not asking too much. I'm just asking the wrong person. Enough won't be too much for the wrong person. You won't be too much for the right person. You're too much because it's the wrong person. And yeah, I know you think you won't find anybody else who's like this. You won't find another person who you have that same connection with, but you'll never know if you don't move on. Moving on, I feel like, is one of the most difficult things that we will put ourselves through. We're comfortable and we had that sense and that future made up in our head already. I'm gonna have this job by the time I'm 25. I'm gonna be married to this person by the time we're 20. By the time we're 25, and at 30 we're gonna start a family. But now you're 21, you're not with that person you thought you would be. You're not in that career, that path that you always thought you would, and you don't know what to do now. You're lost, but you have to move on from that premeditated thoughts that you had, that plan that you had for yourself. Stop trying to plan every single step and move on. Live in the present. Move on from those thoughts. Move on from the person you are, the person you think you are. Let go of those thoughts, that belief of where you should be, of who the person you should be with. Move on. The only way that you'll be able to grow and to experience new things is if you let go of the old. You move on from the things that are holding you back. Thinking, hey, what is holding me down? What is the things that I think that should be in my life, but I know that I have to let these things go in order to grow, in order to get to that new season of my life. We'll often bring old things into new seasons and go back to those old things. If you always bring those old things with you, you'll never be able to move on. You'll never be able to be the person that you're meant to become. You'll never be able to achieve the things that you always knew that you could, because there's certain things that are holding you back, certain things that you can't move on from. You don't let yourself experience new people because you're holding on to those old people. You never moved on from that old partner, those old friends, and now when somebody new comes into your life, you self-sabotage. You compare them to those people, but that's not fair. You can't keep comparing old things to new things. New things will never be the same as old things, but you just have to accept it and be happy that it happened, but understand that it is in the past. It happened, and it's not what's happening now. So moving on from things that are holding you back. If you never move forward, if you never move on, you'll never be able to open up yourself to those new experiences, new opportunities, new people. Moving on, you have to move on. So I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see y'all in the next one.